Видим. Не разрыв вот этот, да?
Да, есть.
Морковки.
Xbox has given the Ukrainian military a deadly advantage in its war against Russia, officials said, with ordinary geeks proving to be deft drone pilots on the front lines. Foreigners with a lot of gaming experience have become a secret weapon for Ukraine in the battle that's become increasingly reliant on drones, said Oleg Grabovy, a New Yorker and course coordinator for enlistees at Ukraine's 25th Airborne Brigade. The dexterity you get with an Xbox controller is directly transferable to flying drones, Grabovy of Syracuse told The Independent. The best FPV pilot I ever met was a relentless gamer. The enlistees come from America, Britain, Canada, Australia, and France, many of whom flooded the 25th Airborne Brigade since the war began in 2022, and in recent months after Western support for Ukraine slowed down. The unit quickly saw the influx of young, video game-savvy volunteers as an opportunity to open a 3-week selection course aimed at transforming the enlistees into the ace drone pilots plaguing Russia's invasion force. One American who identified himself as Sam, a 20-year-old from Charleston, Georgia, said he was eager to prove his skills after competing in drone racing tournaments across the U.S. Competing, you fly through 5-foot gates at 100 miles per hour, making tight turns. It's all about precision and reflexes. I'm planning to use everything I've learned to help Ukraine, he told The Independent. My mom and dad aren't thrilled, but they understand. I've decided to stay until victory or death, whichever comes first, he added. Grabovy described Sam as the latest batch of young Americans who came in recent months following the tumultuous period where President Trump appeared to be pulling support from Kyiv. He said, like him, the enlistees had Ukrainian heritage and wanted to do whatever they could to help during the stressful period, even if they had no previous combat skills. You'd be surprised how many are coming. Hundreds and hundreds from all over the world. We're getting a lot of young Americans, 18, 19, 20 years old, Grabovy said. They think their government has abandoned Ukraine. And it's not just Americans who are being drawn to the front lines. A British enlistee, who identified himself as Gareth, said he left his job at the National Health Service in Wales to become an FPV drone pilot. I have an electronic engineering degree, and the FPV electronic thing is what drew me here, he told the UK outlet. I can combine my sapper experience and electronic engineering skills. It's an interesting time in warfare, and I'm a gamer. Those who pass the 3-week selection course move onto a basic training course that lasts for twice as long, which is meant to weed out those who aren't cut out for war. They needed help sorting the serious from the fantasists and war tourists, American Sean McVeigh said about the course he helped put together. We give people the honest truth. If they're not cut out for it, they're out. The Ukrainian Defense Forces, with the help of a drone, destroyed a Russian Tor surface-to-air missile system. The Dossier Shpiona Telegram channel reported on this and published a video capturing the strike's aftermath. It is noted that the enemy air defense system was destroyed in the temporarily occupied territory of the left bank of the Kherson region. The Russian invaders recorded the video, showing the aftermath themselves. The footage captures a completely destroyed self-propelled launcher, which continued to burn. Based on the extent of the damage from the explosion and fire, the vehicle is beyond repair. According to sources from the Telegram channel, this Tor system belonged to one of the units of the 205th Separate Guards Motor Rifle Brigade, Military Unit 74814. The strike was reportedly performed using a UAV on the outskirts of the city of Kakhovka in the Kherson region on May 11th. It is not specified which exact drone was used, nor how many drones were involved. Ukrainian defenders are increasingly using various drones to target Russian air defense systems. Last month, the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine demonstrated how a unit of the Ghost unit targeted a launcher of a Russian Tor M2 system with a kamikaze drone in the temporarily occupied Crimea. The strike hit the rear of the turret in the area of the air target detection radar. The self-propelled launcher of the Russian Tor M2 air defense system can operate autonomously, independently detecting and engaging aerial targets at a distance of up to 16 kilometers and at an altitude of up to 10 kilometers. The vehicle's armament consists of 16 surface-to-air missiles vertically positioned in a rotating launch system. The crew of the vehicle consists of 3 personnel. You want to rename our Toretsk? I won't allow it. That's how the commander of the 1st Company of the 49th Separate Rifle Battalion, Carpathian Sich, call sign Bandera, speaks to a captured Russian soldier.
Хочешь позвонить? Позвонить? У мене є там товариш служить Вартака. Вже буде нахуй. Тебе вербував цей. Як це на українській? На російській. Ні, вербувати це на українській. Сука, кацається його. Домой? Брат, я сам домой нахуй. За вас і Тарасів всі пригод домой попасти не можу. Я там, знаєш, як бачив? Отак, двері побачив, жінку обняв, і дівчину і поїхав. Все, домой нахуй. Оце я дома так буваю. Потому що знаєш чого? Потому що ти, брат, мешаешь мне немножко, ну типа, ломаешь мои планы на жизнь. Я, сука, с 19 год не можу отсюда съебаться ніяк на армії, нахуй. Потому що ти, блядь, прийшов сюди, блядь, мені тарец хочеш переименувати, козел, блядь. Хуй, не позволю, нахуй. Дзержинського не називають. Він ще тарец, не лезь.
Despite May 9th, Russia's assault actions didn't decrease, but they reduced the use of aviation. According to Tactical Group Luhansk spokesperson Dmytro Zaporizhets, the only thing Russia refrained from during the so-called ceasefire was tactical aviation and Shahed drone strikes.
The number of assault actions did not decrease. Last week there were 150 of them. That is, if you count an average week, then it is basically in those norms that were in previous periods of the month, weekly periods. The only thing the enemy did not use during these days of the so-called truce was tactical aviation, not striking with Shaheds. All other offensive potential was used. Artillery activity did not decrease, or rather it decreased, but on one of the days it seems the 8th was more or less reduced, and then it gradually started returning to the same levels in which the enemy used it until its so-called truce. Conducted assault actions, shelling using FPV drones, and the use of UAVs. Such so-called MOVNI-1 was also employed.
EU ambassadors have agreed on the 17th package of sanctions against Russia. This was reported by Radio Free Europe editor Ricard Jazwiak. According to him, they also simultaneously approved additional sanctions against Russia for human rights violations, hybrid interference worldwide, and the proliferation of chemical weapons. The sanctions will also target 149 oil tankers linked to Russia's shadow fleet. In addition, restrictions will apply to companies from third countries, including the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, Serbia, Vietnam, and Uzbekistan, suspected of helping Russia evade sanctions. The U.S. Army has officially disbanded its sole active Information Operations Command. This was reported on the official U.S. Army website. The disbanding of the command is part of a large-scale reorganization within the U.S. Army Cyber Command, aimed at consolidating and restructuring information warfare functions to align with current operational requirements. The official disbanding ceremony took place on May 8, 2025. The command was based at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. Created in 2002, the Information Operations Command was the main unit responsible for integrating information operations into Army missions. Its tasks included supporting operational security, cyber defense, and analyzing the information environment. Over more than 2 decades of service, the command provided over 450 analytical reports for 6 combat commands and trained over 3,000 information operations specialists. Change is inevitable. You can resist it and risk becoming obsolete, or you can understand it and shape it to achieve the desired outcomes that align with your vision. Colonel Willie Rodney, the Information Operations Command commander, stated, "It should be noted that despite the disbanding, the U.S. Armed Forces has other structures responsible for information operations and cybersecurity, including U.S. Cyber Command, a unified command that manages U.S. cyber operations. In addition, similar units exist within the U.S. Air Force, namely the 67th and 690th Cyber Operations Groups, which are responsible for offensive and defensive cyber operations. They provide support to combat commands in the areas of network computer operations and cybersecurity." Militarny previously reported that the head of the U.S. Department of Defense, Pete Hegseth, announced a plan to reduce the number of senior military officers, including generals and admirals. The cuts are part of an effort to optimize the Pentagon's leadership structure.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.